The NFL draft is a few weeks away, but before we get there, I have to give you guys my top 10 players at every single position. And I'm not going to make you wait. Today we have not only the top 10 quarterbacks, but the top 10 running backs. As always, get down in the comment section below and let me know some of your favorite players at these positions. Now, some quick notes before we dive into the quarterbacks. For one, I am sorry about the lack of uploads this past week. I had some things planned for you guys on the main channel. Things fell through. We move on. The second thing, these positional ranking videos are coming out hot and heavy in combos over the next week or so. So, again, if you have a position in mind, leave it in the comments as well, and maybe I'll just push that up the ladder as far as when you guys will be able to see it. But let's get into the honorable mentions with two guys in Diego Pavia and Taylen Green that are special in their own different ways. For Diego, Heisman finalist, he has that dog, that it factor. He seems to be a great leader, but his intangibles translating to the next level, we're not so sure that's going to go well. So I can really see him going undrafted after a very successful college career, especially late there with the Commodores. At 12, we have Taylen Green at 6'6", athletic freak there out of Arkansas, setting combine records. He looks like a created video game level quarterback. However, his processing inconsistencies as well as his accuracy concerns are reasons he's really just going to be a fun developmental pick, and that's kind of why they're off of my top 10. But at number 10 might ruffle some feathers. But as you guys know, if you follow this channel, I am not a Drew Allar believer. At 6'5", 235, you look at his size, you say it's all there. NFL prototypical. GMs might drool over this in the later rounds. However, when you turn on the tape and you watch him play, I was just not impressed. Outside of flashes of him having a great arm, he struggled in the majority of all big-time games, environments, clutch moments. And though he is a multi-year starter, I can't see him being any more than a fun developmental pick later in day 3 of the draft. So if Drew Allar can end up in like a Buffalo, hear me out, right? If he can learn from a Joe Brady, learn from a Josh Allen for a couple of years, and then wind up as a sneaky free agent signing elsewhere, then I can see him maybe carving himself out a decent role or maybe having a shot at being an NFL starter. But as far as being drafted and starting year 1 or year 2, I don't think it'll go well for Drew Allar. So for me, he's down at number 10. At number 9, we have a controversial take maybe. I don't see him getting a lot of press. But Miller Moss, a guy that at 6'2", brings okay size for the position. But really what stands out, he's extremely smart. He's an extremely safe floor kind of a pick later in the drafts. If you're just looking for a quality backup that could be a point guard, Miller Moss is exactly that. Like I mentioned, he's been around. He's seen a lot of different offenses. And that is kind of why I have him slightly above Drew Allar there at number 10. And number 8, we have America's quarterback in Haynes King at 6'3", 215. Look, man, I don't think he's going to translate, but I'm rooting for him. Maybe more so than any quarterback in this class. Like I mentioned, great size, might be the best leader in the class, no matter the position. However, his archetype of quarterback, that Tim Tebow style where they're going to run the ball the majority of the game and pass when they need to, that doesn't really translate. You can point to maybe Jalen Hurts and say, hey, he runs just as much as he throws, but Jalen Hurts is a far better prospect, player, arm talent than a Haynes King. And I know maybe a lot of Jalen Hurts non-believers will disagree with that statement, but for Haynes King, his ceiling is really being a Taysom Hill level player where he could be that gadget player, kind of playing tight end, but also sneaky packages where he can throw the football. I just can't see him being an NFL starter, but man, I'm rooting for him. Like I mentioned, he pretty much was America's quarterback a season ago. Now, Cade Klubnik at 6'2", 210 brings okay size for the position, and he has a lot of experience, especially in big-time environments. However, this entire Clemson team had an extreme down year last year, and that's why Cade Klubnik, his lack of good performances, let alone great performances, is kind of why his name has plummeted down these quarterback ranking lists. But outside of flashes here and there of good to great accuracy and a good to great arm, he's just a very safe pick. I don't know. I think his ceiling is very capped as far as being a quarterback that could take your team to the next level. So just like everybody I mentioned already, he is going to be a backup selection. Now here we go. And number 6, we have Luke Altmaier, similar size at 6'2", 210, but he might be my personal favorite quarterback to watch in this class, though his ranking is down at number 6. I take into account where they could be drafted and what they can bring at an NFL level. But as far as Luke Altmaier, if you want to talk about one of the safest quarterbacks in the class, I think you're looking at him. He's a 5-year starter. He's played in a pro-style offense for many years to this point. He has so many clutch moments, so many big-time wins for the Fighting Illini, and he protects the football. Man, you don't see the poise and the consistent accuracy in a lot of these guys in this class like you can with Luke Altmaier. He had a 4 touchdown to 1 interception ratio a year ago. He has sneaky athleticism, though I know that's a stereotype for white players in general, but for Luke Altmaier, I love what I see on tape. Do I think he'll be a starter from day number 1? No, but if there's going to be a Brock Purdy, a day 2, day 3 pick that turns into a starter in this class, I think it is Luke Altmaier out of the Fighting Illini. Halfway through the quarterback list, I just want to recap in case, you're wondering exactly how this is laid out. Luke Altmaier at 6, Cade at 7, Haynes King at 8, Miller Moss at 9, Drew Allar, it rounds out the list at number 10. This is your reminder to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We are now almost to 120 subscribers in 1 year. I can't thank you guys enough, but that's enough of that. Let's get into the top 5. And number 5 is my version of a Drew Allar. As much as other analysts and other YouTubers, they love Drew Allar, that's how I am with Sawyer Robertson. At 6'4", 220, if I want to take a shot on a prospect pick, a developmental pick, I think I would rather take Sawyer. He has great NFL size. I think he brings more flashes of good to great accuracy compared to a Drew Allar. Granted, he's in the Big 12, far inferior defenses than the Big 10, but I do think that he is a great project pick. Good production last year, 37 total, 100 yards, 31 touchdowns. And I just think that, again, just like Drew Allar, they both struggle under pressure. I think it's just that it factor, that on tape that I see, I would rather take the shot on Sawyer than Drew Allar. So I know I mentioned Drew Allar just as much as I did for the guy that it's at my number 5 spot. Regardless, Sawyer is at number 5. If I'm going to take a pure developmental pick, it's him. And number 4 is Garrett Nussmeier. The easiest way to explain him is that he's a 6'1", very smart, but he's a gunslinger. Despite the smaller frame at 6'1", and he is relatively thin, he has a top 3 arm in this class, no doubt about it. As far as the combination of arm strength, arm talent, and accuracy, he fits the mold as far as being a top 3 guy in this class. He's very experienced. He has a lot of big-time game experience there at LSU, some big-time wins under his resume, but he also has a lot of big-time blunders, big game blunders, and that's going to happen in the SEC, but it happened far more than we would have liked there for a guy in LSU who is at one point over the last 2 years looked at to be sneaky contenders. For Garrett Nussmeier, he is at number 4 on my list. Let's get into the top 3. At number 3, we have the quarterback of the runner-up in the national title game, in Carson Beck. At 6'4", 220, great size, right? Prototypical size. He has a good to great arm, very smart. He's played in multiple different offenses there with a couple coordinators in Georgia. Then he went to Miami and made a national title run. He's a winner, man, and I think no matter what you may believe about the prospect of the player, he's a winner, and that DNA will translate to an NFL locker room, whether if he is the guy or not. I don't think he's going to be a starter coming out of the draft, of course, and he kind of just reminds me of the most recent version of a Carson Wentz, where they show flashes of greatness, and they will put their bodies on the line and do whatever it takes. They are just not the talent, and they're just not as great as other quarterbacks around the league. But again, it could just be the Carson thing that I'm seeing. Let me know if I'm crazy in the comments section below. But he comes in at number 3. And number 2 is Ty Simpson. And tell me if you've heard this, because if not, you're going to hear it at least 50 more times before the NFL draft comes around. Ty Simpson only has 15 college starts, and that is going to be a big factor for these teams. How much are you going to worry about his lack of experience for the Crimson Tide? I definitely think there is reason to be concerned about that. However, when you look at the player, he's extremely smart. He's a son of a former coach. He is extremely good at reading defenses, shifting his protections, getting his guys to do the exact, put his guys in the right spots. I'll leave it at that. but tons of big game experience. Led this team to the college football playoff outside of that second half against Oklahoma. Good showing in that first half. He has a good to great arm, and there is he just like Ruben Bain are some of the most intriguing players because he could go as high as number 6 in this draft to my Cleveland Browns, but he can also go to the Pittsburgh Steelers late in the first round. He can go to the Rams at 13, or he can fall to the second round. So I'm interested to see where Ty Simpson goes, but as far as the quarterback prospect, I'm not as worried about the 15 career starts because I don't expect him to start from day number 1. If he can go to a team, sit for a year or two, then he can take over. That's kind of why the Rams are perfect on paper. And then at number 1, there is no shocker here. Fernando Mendoza, Heisman winner, great size, just led Indiana, of all colleges, to a 16-0 season, man. I never thought I would say that a day in my life, right? But he's the guaranteed number 1 overall pick. And what's interesting about today is that Kirk Cousins just signed a massive contract with, contingencies to the Las Vegas Raiders. So he will be their day 1 starter. Mendoza will back him up. And that is going to be under the Tom Brady blueprint of giving this rookie as much time as possible to prep and get it as ready as he can before he steps on the field. So with that being said, none of the quarterbacks that I have just mentioned will start from day number 1 this season. Just to recap the top 5, it is on your screen. We have Mendoza at 1, who is top 10 on my board. We have Ty Simpson, who sneaks into the top 50, followed by Carson Beck, Garrett Nussmeier, Sawyer Robertson. Let's take a quick break and let's get into the running back. Moving over to the running back list, I had to crack open one of these energy drinks. Look, I'm an addict, right? Any of you guys out there that love energy drinks or caffeine in general, let me know in the comments section below. But let's get this also out of the way. It is not a great class. I've been doing this for 4 to 5 years. It's by far and away the not the most loaded class top to bottom, but there is that guy at the top that can transform how we look at this entire class years down the line. But some honorable mentions, I want to show some love to this guy in general. Chip Trayanum, formerly of the Ohio State Buckeyes, went to Toledo. He bounced around in his college career playing multiple positions. But as far as when I take the pros out of it, and from what I've seen with my 2 eyes, I've seen college football games live, high school games live. This guy at the high school level was the best athlete I've ever seen in my life. Of course, my co-host, a college coach now at this point in time, knows this guy very well. I just want to throw him out there. Keep this name in mind because he could be a guy that gets I guess, post-draft picked up and works his way onto a roster because he's that athletic, man. He's a freak, I'm telling you guys. Some other guys are on your screen here. We have Le'Veon Moss, Jamal Haynes. You see the names. Those are all guys that have an argument to be on the list. And I will say this, from 15 to number 9, these guys are all interchangeable. It depends on how you want your running back to play and what kind of offense you are running because these guys can all fit in different offenses and schemes. Regardless, at number 9, I had Jaydn Ott of the Oklahoma Sooners, who bounced around. Of course, he went from Cal to Oklahoma, had 3 great years at Cal. Last year, dealt with injuries, but he's a very balanced running back, and I am excited to see if he can land a decent role here at the NFL level. And then at number 10, I had Jam Miller out of Alabama, strictly because I am I'm a sucker for a great power back. And he wasn't the most productive, but I can see him having an A.J. Dillon role where he steps in the goal line and takes a lot of touchdowns away from the starter. And number 8 is Damond Claiborne. He is the most elusive running back in the class at 5'10", 200. He had an outstanding combine showing with that elite home run speed, elite agility. When you turn on the tape, he does show good vision, surprising power and contact balance. I do think he's going to be a great change of pace running back at the next level, but also a great late round gem that a lot of teams will be excited to utilize. If he can end up in like a Denver, I would love to see it. At number 7, we have Kaytron Allen. As I mentioned, at 5'11", 220, he fits the mold. I am a sucker for a great power back, and this guy just always pushes forward. He always falls forward. He has great contact balance, extreme power. He has a knack for finding the end zone and just has that never give up mentality with his style of play. And he had a very productive college career as well. I'm interested to see where he goes because I don't think he has the highest of ceilings, but I think he also has a very safe floor. So I think his range, as far as where he could be drafted, is fairly wide. At number 6 is Jonah Coleman, aka CJ Anderson of this era. He's reliable at 5'9", 230, but also very durable, as in his college career, he had over 480 touches, 30 rushing touchdowns, and also 80 receptions. He no doubt has shown he is very durable. He can withstand a 3-down workload, and he could be a bell cow at the next level. I just don't see that being the case. If he can find his way to being like that Kareem Hunt role in recent years with the Kansas City Chiefs, I think he can carve himself out a pretty nice career. But yeah, Jonah Coleman, man, another guy that is built like a bowling ball and hard to bring down. Those are the style of backs that I like. Kind of why I called out guys like Kyle Monangai last year. But at the halfway point, I want to throw this update list at you guys as Jonah Coleman, Katron Allen, Damon Claiborne, Jaden Ott, and Jam Miller round out my top 10. Let's get into the top 5, as at number 5, when you talk about dominant combine performances, perhaps no running back had a better one than Mike Washington Jr. at 6'3", 225. He is a freak. He was built in a lab, of course, had an amazing combine, great speed to him, and he has 3-down ability, in my opinion. He had over 160 carries over each of the last 2 years, excuse me. Of course, he was playing in SEC football, so that's the most pro-ready conference, argue with a wall. But Mike Washington is a very fun pick, and I can see this guy being a starter at the next level. But where does he get drafted? I'm intrigued because I can see him even sneaking into the very top of the second or even the late first round there with the Seattle Seahawks. He kind of reminds us, based on how he's built, of a Ken Walker years ago. At number 4 is Nick Singleton, the second Nittany Lion on today's list, at 6'2", 225. He has that ideal NFL size and frame, man. The dude is strong as an ox. If you ever seen his workout videos, he's absolutely insane. But he also comes in with a lot of experience, man. 4 years of playing quality snaps. I think 2 of those being a starter the last 2 seasons. And over the 4 years, he was averaging 178 touches a season, and he also racked up 54 total touchdowns in his college career. So the production's there, the athleticism is there, he has great vision, and of course, I think he's ready for the next level. But also, NFL fans will love this one. He has a great nickname, Nick the Quick Singleton. That is ideal for a running back, and that's why he's number 4 on my running back list. But coming in at number 3 is the first of the Fighting Irish we'll talk about here in just a few moments. It's Jadarian Price at 5'11", 210. I'm telling you guys, he looks and he runs like Nick Chubb. As far as wearing little to no accessories, but just being dominant on the field, man, that's who I saw on tape. He is a yards after contact machine in his college career, averaging 7 yards after contact, 7 yards per carry. So he is, of course, dominant in that regard. He had 11 touchdowns last year as a backup, mind you. And look, he brings great power, great contact balance. He can be a starter at the next level, no doubt about it. And I could see him going as early as like pick 20 in this draft. So I'm interested to see where Jadarian Price goes. But yeah, man, he looks and he feels like Nick Chubb. It's kind of scary to think about. Now I have another fun comparison for you here. Emmett Johnson, out of Nebraska, comes in as my second running back on my board, and he looks and he feels like Alvin Kamara. Maybe it's the 2-1 instead of the 4-1. Maybe it's the arm tape. But his production last year was off the charts, and he did it in every way possible. He had 300 touches, 1.7 thousand yards total, 46 receptions, 15 touchdowns in the Big Ten. He single-handedly carried this Cornhuskers offense, and I do think he can be a late first-round selection. But his ability and his versatility in the receiving game, but also on the ground, running at the pace that he does, he's very surgical, like Alvin Kamara. Maybe that is just me being crazy, right? But I really see Alvin Kamara in Emmett Johnson, and I think there's no doubt about it. He's my running back 2 on my board. And again, he's top 25 on my overall big board, man. That's how much I love this running back, at least the top of this running back class. And then at number 1, at 6'2", 215, it's the complete package. Jeremiah Love. He is the complete package as far as the intangibles go. As far as what you saw on tape, he's a freak, but his production also matches it, man. 7 yards a carry. He had 35 total touchdowns over the last 2 seasons. He will be a workhorse. He is the number one player on my entire big board, and he should go in the top 10 of this year's upcoming draft. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes as early as number 4 to the Tennessee Titans because that's why I mocked him in my last draft. But I'm telling you guys, he had better tape to me than Bijan, than Jahmyr Gibbs, than Ashton Jeanty. Jeremiah Love is a once in a decade running back. So let's enjoy it while we have it and let's see where he goes. Fantasy managers, this could be the next great pick. But let's recap here before we get out of here. As at number 1, we have Jeremiah Love. At number 2, Emmett Johnson. Jadarian Price follows at number 3. Nick Singleton at 4. Mike Washington at 5. Man, all of those guys are just athletic balls of muscle and they're freaks. 6 through 10 we already went through, but I will leave it at this. Tomorrow you will have a wide receiver and tight end episode. So if you're excited for that, please drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 150 subs before the draft. Not that crazy of a goal. So let's get there, man. I can't thank you guys enough, and I'll see you tomorrow.